And about that time when I moved up here, libraries were dying. People were saying, oh, we're not going to need libraries anymore. Why are you doing this? And we've seen that change around. People realize the value of libraries. They're not just a depository of books. We're more of a community space. It's amazing how many people meet here just on a regular basis, whether it's the big meeting rooms, the small meeting rooms, or just meeting out in the main area. We have people that come here because when they're working and they just need Wi-Fi, which you couldn't have done years ago. When I first came, there weren't that many programs happening, and we do programs all the time to bring people in, to get them used to what we have, so that they know that libraries are not just books. We have so much more to offer them. We have to keep adapting, and that's what we do, and we keep doing that with all our branches. E-books and e-audiobooks have become huge for people to download, and they can download these things for free at any cost, and it's amazing. We keep evolving and keep changing to meet the needs of the community at the time, and that's what we're trying to do. One of my favorite books was The Black Stallion. It had horses in it, and it was exotic. It's one that just sort of stands out in my mind. Didn't have horses or anything, but I just enjoyed the book. A few years ago, my brother gave me a book that they had at the church library that had my name on the checkout card about 10 times. I can't remember what it was, but I evidently loved that book because I kept checking it out. And they were getting rid of these books. Small town called Munfordville, Kentucky. Very small town. I can remember we had a set of encyclopedias, and I can remember going down the alphabet, A, B, C, D, following those and then pulling those out and reading. That was actually, that sounds crazy, but that was some of the first books I looked at was encyclopedias, because we had a big set of them, and they had pictures, and even though they were in black and white, but they were still. Children's books back then were not as colorful and as prevalent as they are now. I mean, I really remember reading more as I got a little older and finding more like a juvenile book that's just for third, fourth, fifth graders instead of that really early children's book that you find now everywhere, the board books and all of that. That was really more what I got into and read. And I was in the adult part of the library like when I was 10, because I'd already read all the books in the children's section. Because there just weren't that many. That sounds crazy, but my little library didn't like the Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. Those were not good literature, so we couldn't have those. So we only had the classics and those kind of things, and those, some of those were good and some of them were really boring. The librarian was always good to me. I mean, anytime I needed a book, she helped me find it. She's the one that let me go in the adult department because they really were separate areas and you couldn't just go in there as a child. So she just, she took care of me. That was probably the best part of it. It was my home away from home. I just did more and more of that, and I realized, I like libraries. I think it'd be a good place to work. My dad, he got a job with the State Housing Authority in Columbia, and he moved us to St. Matthews, which I don't know if you know where St. Matthews is, but it's another very small town. He found a big old house that used to be an inn, because I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. They all didn't come with us, but all but 2 did. So we needed a big place to live, and he found it. He was 30 minutes away from work, and we grew up the rest of the way up in St. Matthews. I studied history. It's one of those, you can do so much with a history degree, and got a minor in secondary ed because it was my dad's like, you got to have a backup plan. So, when I did my student teaching, I went, no, this is not for me. I enjoyed it, and I admire all the teachers, but I didn't think I could do the whole thing. So, and I knew I liked libraries, so I decided I need to go to library school. And I did take a few library courses when I was in college, and so I decided to go to graduate school. I had to work for about a year before I could go, but then I went and finished at USC. I had been the library director at Sumter County for 21 years. Had just built a new library and was looking for a new adventure, I guess. And Carl Stone was looking to retire, and he asked me if I wanted to interview to be his assistant director. I did, and got the job, and then he retired a few months later, and I became the director. We're still all about books. I don't want to leave that out at all. I want to be sure we just changed the format a little bit, and we still buy books in print. We buy books on CDs that are like audiobooks on CD. We buy the ebooks, e-audiobooks. Used to, you would have, your basic books and all that, picture books and things like that. But now the hottest thing are graphic novels for kids. You have them for adults. Well, now the kids really like those, and it's reading. And sometimes people go, oh, I don't want my child to read it. It's like a comic book. Well, no, they're not. They're a little more sophisticated, still have the story, still have the book. It's just a little easier for the kids to read, and they really enjoy those. So we buy those kind of things. We're trying to buy the things the kids really want, so they'll come check them out. We have the South Carolina room, so if you're into genealogy, you can come in. They can help you with your research. We have we have News Bank, which will allow you to look at the independent mail online, so you can go back and look for some things. We've got a lot of the independent mail on microfilm, the older stuff, which they no longer make anymore, unfortunately, but you can now do it online. We also just have some general history on South Carolina, but genealogy is our biggest piece back there. And my staff are very knowledgeable, and they can help anybody with looking for their family histories. We also have our Electric City Creative Space, which is fairly new. That's our maker space, and it has just a multitude of things. They have, there's a sewing machine in there, there's a vinyl cutter, we have looms that they can use, but it gets them exposed to some of these other things that they might never have tried. And we have 8 branches, so they're all over the county. And when I first came, and we had just built 2 libraries, the Pendleton branch and the Powdersville branch, and those are our 2 largest branches, and all were being well used, but now people are really finding them and coming to use them. They know that they can get books from here and other libraries fairly easily. Our mobile library, Bookmobile, goes out every day, or Monday through Thursday. Friday they're doing more deliveries. That's the day they go to like nursing homes to take some books. But they go all over the county. Again, they don't get too close to branches, because that's, branches are doing that service. But they're just places that it's just harder for people to get out to. And they, again, have a full complement. If they don't have the book or the whatever someone wants, they can bring it for them. People call and say, can you bring such and such? And they'll bring it the next day or that day whenever they go. But they have the same materials that we have here. So it's just an extension of what we're doing here. I will tell you, libraries are not your old, quiet, no noise place anymore. It can get a little loud, and there are days that we have it loud just because we're doing programs and we use the whole library sometimes. We have small study rooms, so if somebody wants to study, they can go in there and they won't be bothered. And we also have a small quiet room. So we have places, you just may have to ask for them, and we'll be glad to help you with it. But I can't promise it'll be quiet. We want people to come in, and people are people. They don't see us as that old, we have to be very careful and very quiet. We don't want them that. We want them to enjoy coming to the library. We want it to be a fun thing, not this thing I've got to sort of be scared of or be nervous about. We're working on our branches a little bit. You'll see some changes for them in the future. We have some open spaces here. We want to make them more open space. They've all got a lot of bookshelves and a lot of books that, while books are a big part of what we do, a lot of them, especially in the branches, just sit on the shelves. Most people want, when they come in a public library, they want the new stuff. Every now and then they'll look for an older book, and we have those. And this library, the main library, will continue to sort of be the guardian of all that stuff. We're not going to get rid of all our libraries, all of our books. There have been some libraries that have gotten rid of a lot of books, and we won't at this library, but you'll see more of the branches. Just downsizing, I guess, is the best way to do it with books, but opening up other materials. So many people are going to downloadables that the books, and even research books. People don't come here as much for, how do I, sew a dress. They go on YouTube and watch a video. So we'll still have a couple of books on sewing dresses, but we may not have a whole row of them and that kind of stuff. So we're, just adapting and trying to put our money where it's really going to be more useful. So that's one of our big things. We're also looking at, where do we go next? We would still love to do something on the western side of the county with a branch. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but it's something we're dreaming about now. Everything is free. There's only a charge if you don't return it on time. That's the only problem. And you can call us and we'll renew them for you. But everything is free. You can download books, you can get checkout books, you can get magazines, you can get just about anything at the library and get it free. We have librarians on our desks, our service desk, all the time at circulation, at reference, and children's services, the South Carolina room. There's always somebody that can help you find whatever you need. And if we can't find it here, we are part of a 19 library consortium. So if we don't have it, we can get it from another library a lot of times. And that's made a huge difference. Books that we don't necessarily buy, sometimes I get odd phone calls on my phone, and got one from someone and she was looking for some books that we didn't have. But when I look, other libraries in the system had it, so I just placed hold on them. She'll get them the end of this week, and she was happy. And that's what we want. We want people to be happy with it. They can get the materials they really want. I'm one of these odd people. I'm not going to tell you the classics or anything. I read thrillers. So if you give me a good thriller, I'm happy. I listen to a lot in my car. You can download an audio to your phone, listen to it through your Bluetooth in your car, and never have to worry about the CDs or anything that are getting lost, and it's always there. So I listen to a lot of books. And I also still get hardbacks. I still go check out a book and have that at my house too. So I use all the formats. It's just part of it. I just always have to have a book with me. I can't stand it when I'm out somewhere and I don't have something to read.